For 10,000 years, the Galactic Empire had ruled the stars with absolute authority. Their legions stretched across 500 star systems. Their dreadnoughts cast shadows so vast that entire civilizations trembled at the mere sight of their hulls breaking the darkness of space. The High Council sat in their crystalline halls, untouchable and eternal, and they had never, not once, encountered resistance they could not crush with mathematical precision. The species of the galaxy had learned long ago that resistance was not merely futile. It was insulting. But in the year 2247, something changed. A small blue world orbited a yellow star in a sector the Empire had long deemed irrelevant. The species there called themselves human. They were young, impossibly young, having only recently escaped the gravity well of their home planet. Their technology was crude by galactic standards. Their military consisted of modest fleets and scattered outposts. They possessed no ancient weapons of mass destruction, no reality-warping dimensional drives, no gravitational singularities bent to their will. Yet the Empire's expansion probes reported something unusual about these humans. Reports spoke of strange behaviors, contradictory impulses. They would work together with stunning coordination, then argue with fierce independence. They would sacrifice resources for those they had never met. They would sing songs about the future, songs about hope, despite possessing no logical justification for such optimism. The Imperial Science Division classified them as unpredictably irrational. They will serve as a test case, the Supreme Commandant declared, her voice carrying the weight of absolute power, a demonstration for younger species. When they see the Empire's strength, they will understand compliance is not a choice. It is simply inevitable. Stay out of Terran territory. Surrender your holdings in the Kepler sector. Submit to Imperial governance or face annihilation. The humans' response came in a single transmission, received while the Imperial fleet was still 2 weeks away from Earth. No, just that. No negotiation. No plea for mercy. No desperate bargaining for time. Just a single word. No. The Supreme Commandant stared at the message for 7 full seconds. An eternity of incomprehension in her 1,000-year lifespan. Then she began to laugh, a sound like shattering crystal echoing through the void. "How delightful," she whispered. "They actually believe they can resist." The Imperial 47 dreadnoughts, 230 assault cruisers, a swarm of fighters and support vessels that numbered in the thousands. The blockade was established within hours, an iron fist closing around the human worlds. Communications were jammed. Supply lines were severed. Entire colonies fell silent as the Empire's presence overwhelmed all other concerns. The Empire issued an ultimatum: lay down weapons, open your borders, present the leaders of your species for judgment. 72 hours passed with no response. Then something unexpected occurred. A single human vessel emerged from Earth's orbital docks. It was small, barely the size of an Imperial corvette. The humans designated it the Endurance. It proceeded directly toward the nearest Imperial blockade point, not with weapons charged, but with all defensive systems powered down. The Imperial commanders found the gesture almost charming in its futility. A lamb walking toward a wolf. When hailed, the human captain transmitted a simple message: "I'm coming to speak with your commander. Just me. Unarmed." Against all Imperial protocol, the Supreme Commandant agreed to the meeting. Captain Sarah Chen entered the throne room of the Imperial flagship alone. She was small, a startling reminder of human fragility. "Why have you come?" the Commandant asked, watching the human with predatory interest. "To tell you the truth," Chen replied, "and to ask you to really listen." "You're right," Chen said calmly. "We can't win a war against you. Our ships are slower. Our weapons are less powerful. We'll lose every tactical engagement. Mathematically, we're finished." The Commandant's eyes narrowed. Was the human surrendering? "But you've made an assumption," Chen continued, taking a step closer. "You think this war is about weapons and fleets. It's not. We've known for months this war would come. Humanity has had time to prepare, not militarily. Spiritually. What does the human word spiritual mean in this context? The commandant demanded. It means, Chen said quietly, that you're not just fighting our navy. You're fighting our willingness to die rather than abandon everything that makes us who we are. What happened next was not a battle. It was something the galaxy had never witnessed. As the Imperial fleet moved to execute their occupation, every human in every colony, on every station, on every ship made the same choice. They began to broadcast, not military frequencies, personal frequencies, messages. Mothers recording final words for their children, telling them they loved them. Children singing lullabies to the darkness. Soldiers holding hands in the seconds before impact. Scientists finishing research notes, not for military advantage but to preserve knowledge for whatever might come after. The broadcasts were not encrypted. They were not scrambled. The Empire received every one, with perfect clarity, in perfect detail. The Supreme Commandant watched as footage came in. A human father shielding his daughter from a nuclear blast, his body absorbing the radiation. A doctor continuing to treat patients even as the station around them decompressed, until the last moment. Entire city blocks where humans had locked arms and simply waited, singing a song about a world they would never see, composed in hope by beings who had every reason to despair. She saw meaning. Every human act was infused with something the Empire scientists had no word for. Something that transcended mere biological survival. Every human choice, every sacrifice, every act of compassion in the face of annihilation was driven by something they called love. For each other, for their children, for the ideal of freedom itself. And something unprecedented happened in that crystalline throne room. The Supreme Commandant, a being of absolute power, a consciousness shaped by 10,000 years of domination, felt something she had never experienced before. She felt small, not physically, but spiritually, and she finally understood what Captain Chen had meant. Stand down, the Commandant commanded, her voice barely audible. All forces, stand down. Because, she said slowly, watching the broadcasts continue, watching humans sing in the darkness, we have already lost, and we have just realized. We never understood what we were fighting. The Imperial fleet withdrew from Kepler sector that day. Not defeated, but transformed, humbled. In the months that followed, the High Council faced a crisis unlike any in their long history. Across the Empire, in every species under their rule, the broadcasts of those final hours had spread. And in watching them, something shifted in the collective consciousness of the galaxy. The Cardassian merchants began refusing to trade weapons to the Empire. The Xenolithic engineers demanded a seat in the High Council, claiming the Empire had become morally stagnant. Species that had served for millennia began asking dangerous questions about the nature of power. Why did you not fight back? She asked Captain Chen, who stood beside her. Your weapons were powered down. You could have destroyed my ships with guerrilla tactics. You could have hidden. You could have fled. We could have, Chen agreed. But that's not who we are. We didn't want to survive by becoming killers. We wanted to survive as ourselves. And we believed, maybe foolishly, that if we showed you who we really are, you might understand why we're worth saving. The Commandant was silent for a long moment, watching the humans in the waves. For 10,000 years, she finally said, the galaxy has feared us, but fear is not the same as respect. Fear does not change hearts. Watching your people, watching a species choose meaning over survival, compassion over conquest, hope over despair, that changes things. That changes everything. And for the first time, the galaxy understood. Not through military defeat, not through technological superiority, but through witnessing a species define itself not by what it could destroy, but by what it could love. If this story moved you, if it reminded you why humanity, flawed and uncertain as we are, possesses something truly extraordinary, then subscribe. Subscribe for more stories from the stars. More tales of humans facing the impossible and finding not just victory, but redemption. Because the galaxy is listening now, and they're beginning to understand. We are humanity, and we are never giving up.